We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight here because I have a feeling some of these are gonna be contrasting opinions. This is gonna be my list, and then I might take some advice from people, but it is my list.
Okay.
So in my list, are we ready for this one? Man of Steel.
That's going to be S for you, huh?
What do you guys think? Where do you think I'm going to put Man of Steel?
You're going to put an S.
I think I'll put it. Really? I thought I got to put it no.
No, it's S. It's my favorite one.
For me personally, Batman v Superman goes to F. It's not.
Well, hold on, wait. Before we jump to the next one,
calm down.
I want to know what everybody else's ranking for Man of Steel is. Where would you guys put this movie?
Oh god, probably like a B or C for me.
Yeah,
not surprising. I figured a lot of people would rank it lower, so I'm just trying to see where everybody's at.
For me,
it's a generous A, honest to say.
I think this is a good movie. I just don't like it very much. Like it's just like I don't.
You know what Paige has said? Paige has said it's a good movie. It's not a good Superman.
No, it's a really well made movie. Really well. I think it's actually really well written in regards to the dialogue. It's well made in regards to. I think it's Snyder's best looking movie, but it's not a Superman movie.
Cody says I'd put that and BvS dead last. Holy shit. So I'm going to say I'm ranking these based on non-director's cuts unless they're listed as a director's cut. Because the BvS director's cut is like one tier higher for me because I think it is better than the actual theatrical cut. But I believe the one on this list is the regular theatrical version. Yeah.
Okay, can we just address this? I am sick to fucking tired of people going, the Ultimate Edition rated it by 5 points in my rating. No, it fucking doesn't. If you like the theatrical edition, you like this. It increases your enjoyment of the movie. If you didn't like the theatrical edition at all, this does not make you like the movie. I'm fucking sick of hearing people say that.
That mocking of your voice was like top tier.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, BvS theatrical edition is
dead last.
Boom, down here in the bottom, and let me explain why that is. This movie needed more time to cook. I feel like they rushed this movie. And this, to me, like, honestly, if we talk about Man of Steel being, like, not done yet, it's still in the oven cooking, BvS was the ultimate, like, leave it in the oven for too long. Because so many things in this movie, to me, could have waited. For example, the relationship between Batman and Superman should have been established outside of this movie. Because it's the frenemies, but not really frenemies because they don't know each other yet. And also, Superman's journey from Man of Steel to BvS left out an entire film's worth of storyline for Superman, where he actually had a chance to be Superman. Before they're crucifying him and putting him through court.
You know what Batman felt like? Cecile plot device.
I mean, there's
so many issues with this movie. Just like
I could go on and on about problems with this film. Steel. I get what you're saying, but I could go on and on about the problems with the movie. Look, the movie looks beautiful. There's so many scenes in this movie that look great. I think Batman's armor when he's fighting Superman looks amazing. I think the fight with Doomsday, even though I don't like the way Doomsday looks, I think the overall fight is great. I think the best part of this movie, which is the one thing in the film that isn't even in the title, is fucking including Wonder Woman in the movie. If Wonder Woman wasn't in this movie, it would be even worse than dog shit. She was the best part of this film, and she's not even in the title. They're calling it Batman v Superman with Wonder Woman in it, and Wonder Woman isn't even in the fucking title. So it was baffling to me. Absolutely baffling.
Maybe it's because she wasn't versing Superman.
Okay, yours truly is coming to the chat. That's not our general. That's Eric Schilling. I think most of us agree it's a B or a C. I'm on C for Man of Steel. Just
wait! Somebody jump in and say that I was shilling or whatever. Who says that?
Well, they just said no way. Man of Steel is S tier, bro. And I'm like, I just want to clear my name with his association with that ranking.
Pagey sent me it's in the private chat. He says to make sure you put Man of Steel S tier, and then I'm going to pretend like I don't like it.
Well, the thing is that I actually disagree with you on BvS.
So where would you put BvS?
Probably C alongside Man of Steel.
I agree. I think like BvS is a movie. I don't like BvS a lot, but also I think there's a lot that they do cool. Like I think there's a lot of things that work with it. Like I think it's actually similar to Man of Steel. I think it's one of the best made DCEU movies, just in terms of like the cinematography and how it's shot and the script and stuff like that. I think it's gorgeous. And then you have things like killing Jimmy in the first 5 minutes and various things they do throughout it. I think killing Superman in the second DC movie is bonkers to me. Like I still can't get past that decision. But I think it's like for me it's like a high C. Yeah, probably like a C, like a low B, high C kind of thing.
All right.
The major aspect that I hated completely from Batman v Superman is the fact that they're worshiping Superman like a god.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. That needed to actually, in order for that to make any sense, we needed a second Man of Steel. We needed another Superman movie.
That ticked me off.
It did, because it was so weird that the Superman we knew in Man of Steel becoming like Jesus to people, God to people, seems so weird with no literal explanation for why that is. That was just Zack Snyder being Zack Snyder. All right, so the OG Suicide Squad, the one that released the David Ayer cut. Look, this is controversial because I think one half of this movie is a lot of fun. I think the other half of the movie
one
is
character is all like fun for me.
But I'm gonna put it in the C tier for me.
I'll agree.
I think it's a C tier movie.
I disagree. I'd probably still I'd put that D. I do agree with you where there's fun parts, but the bad stuff is just so fucking bad. That's the
best character in that movie is Harley Quinn.
There's a lot of stuff. Surprisingly enough, when I was watching this, we went as a big group. In this movie, we were like the first act, we were totally convinced. Like we loved the idea of like all the little montages with the characters being introduced and everything. All the way up until the point where they went into the city. Yeah. We liked it. Then when they were in the city in that like third act, second into third act, it got really weird and kind of crazy. And then the final battle we thought was kind of cool too, even though it was very cliche. So that's why it's in the C for me, because I feel like two out of the 3 acts I actually enjoyed.
I honestly hated the fact that I was spoiled by the bad guy. Like, you could tell that they were the same person because they didn't like really change the appearance very much. But at the same time, I was completely spoiled before I even watched it. So there was no mystery behind it.
Okay, so where would you put this, Darren? Same thing where Paige, you said D tier.
I think it's one of the worst movies in this universe. Like I like certain elements. Like I think actually I love the first like recruiting scene at the very start when they're introducing all the players. Stuff like that.
It feels like Guardians of the Galaxy to me. It's very fun, and that was the movie that I was thinking I was going to get. So,
but I hate everything else. Everything else is D for me.
All right, Wonder Woman. This is controversial because I know the third act gets a bit messy towards the end, but for me, Wonder Woman is also an S tier movie.
I agree.
I could watch this movie over and over and over again. I love the first Wonder Woman movie. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
It's
S tier for me.
It's an A tier for me. It is that third act that just slows it down a bit for me. It's great, but I wouldn't say it's
I'm being more forgiving on the third act than Darren, though. I feel like I'm forgiving the third act.
Mine's low S, high A, so I'm fine with the being wherever in that.
Yeah.
So we're almost all in agreement on this. Like this is the first one where we're almost like we kind of agree on it. All right, let's see.
It also made $1 billion. So
yeah, let's see if we can agree on this one.
Freaking the farthest down you can freaking go.
Of Justice League theatrical cut, awful.
Are you ready?
Gets worse the more you looked at it. The only redeeming quality for this movie is that Superman at the end feels like Superman. That's it. That's the only redeeming quality.
You know what? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna edgy. I'm thinking low C to high D.
Oh,
what the?
And the main reason for that is that it's just. It's so mixed in regards to it. I wish, and I know it's in retrospect, and I wish one of us could time travel and just knock on the Warner Brothers executive doors and just said, give Joss Whedon, just give him an extra 30 to 40 and let him just reshoot the entire movie.
Yeah, because you could tell the reshoots kind of bogged the movie down a lot.
Just let him reshoot the entire movie. If you can't condense Zack Snyder's movie down to 2 hours, just give him the extra 30 or 40. It'll be worth it. It would have been. And I just wish they could have done that. Because I think the best stuff in this movie is the Joss Whedon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody but Paige is in agreement that it's a D tier.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it being in D, but I would put it on the line. I'd put it on the over the bridge.
So in other words, Paige would put it like here. Like this would be Paige's ranking, like right there in the middle of the
I love the race scene at the end of the movie. Like I love the Flash, racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Rest of the movie, I don't care.
I like the this Superman aspect of it, to where he feels more hopeful, like he's embodying Superman. You know, he's joking, he's being basically kids to us when Cyborg and him were laughing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that felt like Superman to me. Like he wasn't. He's not taking things seriously. I hate when Superman's serious when he's like with friends.
Next movie on the list is Aquaman 1. And this for me is solid A.
Yeah. I agree.
It's almost S, but I can't put it there. There's a couple of things that just bug me, but it's definitely A.
It's what's funny is like I think what happened with Amber Heard kind of makes me want to go with B.
Well, I'm not going to lower the movie because of that, but I see what you're saying. Like based on like your feelings towards her, yeah.
I can't like watch it in the same light now.
No, I understand. Yeah. But when I initially watched it in theaters the first time, I had a lot of fun with the movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I think there was a little heavy, obviously, on the VFX, and you could see some of it wasn't great. But I did enjoy the movie, and the character of Ocean Master was probably one of my favorite parts of the film, to be honest.
And I feel like they almost did the DC logo at the very end, where he kind of like goes up into the sky, like in the one with like the original DC logo where you have Superman punching.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. All right, so Shazam, the first Shazam movie, and I know Paige's going to disagree with me on this one. Even though I really loved it, Shazam falls in the A tier with me along with Aquaman. I don't think it's S tier for me, but I can understand why people would put it in S tier. But it's A tier for me, but I'm pretty sure Paige's going to put it in S tier for him.
For fun, it'd be on the same thing, like on that bridge, like S and A. Like I'm fine with either S or O.
Yeah.
Fun-wise, it's an S for me. Story-wise, it's an A.
It's an A.
Fun for me is like
we're slowly we're bringing people together here. We're all sort of like,
you're on the same mindset.
Eric, it's pointless because it's about to go down the drain in regards to.
I don't think so. I think we're all going to be on the same page because where I put this next movie, everybody's going to agree. I'm sure they're going to agree where Birds of Prey is going to go because I think it's a very indivisive movie that people totally agree about. So Birds of Prey for me. Okay, so two things before I rank this. When I initially saw this movie, I absolutely hated it.
Oh, is there a change of opinion coming here?
No. Hear me out. The first time I saw it, I hated it. And then people told me that I should be thinking of the movie, and maybe this is them gaslighting me or trying to convince me about something. But they were like, you have to think of the movie as if you're living it through the eyes of Harley Quinn, and that it is her world, and this is how she views her world. So it's like a cartoon thing. And then I was like, oh, okay. So didn't think it was that bad. So I went back and watched it recently, thinking of it that way, and I was like, you know what, it isn't as bad as I remember it, because initially I would have put it down in the D list because I think that was where it belonged. However, now that I've watched it, I'm going to put this in the B tier because I actually thought it was okay.
You know what, Eric, I'll take that. It's not where I want it to be, but I'll take that.
I feel like it's a good, like, fun center.
That's not where I thought you were going with it.
Where did you think I was going to go? So tell me, where did you guys think I was going to put that?
D.
I was afraid,
I thought you were going to put
talked about this before. I was like,
I would rather watch this than the movies below it, to put it that way. I'd rather watch Birds of Prey than the other three that I have below Birds of Prey. So
I love Birds of Prey. I absolutely enjoy that movie.
It's not S for me, it's A for me.
Yeah.
I'd have an A.
Yeah, that's fair. And I know some people like it more than I do, but once you go back and you think of it as like a live action cartoon, I think it works. And that's kind of.
I remember the fucking argument we had when it came out. Real triggered.
Well, because I hated it, because I was going into it not understanding.
Yeah. I remember coming back from the theater and being like, I can't wait to hear his thoughts on it. I jumped on. I was like, oh. All
no,
right,
and like I totally look. Sometimes things happen, and I'm not going to say that I was necessarily wrong. I was just viewing the movie with expectations of what I wanted the movie to be instead of understanding what the movie was. And when I went back and watched it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like the Harley Quinn cartoon. So this is like her world and how she views her world. And then I started to forgive it for a lot of the things that I was holding against it. And I was like, wait a minute, this is actually a fun movie. And so I would totally watch it again before I'd watch like Suicide Squad, BvS, or theatrical Justice League. So that for me puts it above that. Although everything above it I would definitely watch before I'd watch Birds of Prey. But look, I feel like I am making progress. My world is expanding, and I'm kind of aligning things correctly. Okay. Wonder Woman 84, it similar. Oh, what were we going to say, 3Dub?
I was going to say, for me, it's behind Birds of Prey.
What is?
Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, okay. So for me, Wonder Woman 84 is another movie that Paige and I have talked about quite extensively. I still hate the third act of this movie.
Me too.
I hate it. I do. I really do. And I know that's probably not going to be the same for everybody. I don't like it, but I totally understand that Wonder Woman would probably do something like that.
And the inconsistency.
Talk the villain down. My issue with the movie initially was I didn't totally understand that the movie was supposed to feel like a movie that was made in the 80s. I know it looked like a movie from the 80s, but I didn't realize that she was going for like an 80s vibe, because that's not what the first Wonder Woman movie was. The first Wonder Woman movie didn't have a vibe of that era, but I think that's what they were going for with this movie. But I still hate the third act.
I hate the inconsistency.
So for me, I would put it in the C tier. Probably.
Because if you think about it, like Batman v Superman happened, right? She's leaping. She's not flying. Like, in the
I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff wrong in this movie. But the reason why I'm putting it in C, and let me explain why, is I think the first parts of the movie, especially the stuff with Pedro, it was a lot of fun for me. And I had a good time with that. So I can't put it down in D because I don't like 90% of those movies I don't like. And I don't dislike Wonder Woman 84 that much, but I also don't love it enough to say that I would watch it as much as I'd watch Birds of Prey. So for me, that's why it's in the C tier.
What's funny is with Pedro Pascal, he fell off for some reason in the film. I just couldn't figure out why.
Because they were trying to get him to overact. That was the whole point of the movie. They wanted these characters to feel
okay. That ridiculous. May be why.
Probably my biggest problem with the movie outside of the third act, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, this is me, being woke or whatever," but I hated the idea that Wonder Woman would hook up with somebody that was being possessed by the body of her previous boyfriend. Yeah. That to me felt so weird. I know it's a comic book movie and maybe I'm not supposed to think that hard about it, but for me, it's like I'm supposed to believe that Wonder Woman would be okay with that, and I just don't know if I buy that.
What's funny is in the TV series with Linda Carter, she actually dated the ancestor of him.
But see, I don't even have a big issue with that because that person is still consenting to a relationship. This one felt weird, and maybe it is me overthinking it. In chat, you can let me know if that's me overthinking it, and you can disagree with me all you want. And even you guys, if you want to disagree with me, but I just feel like that's not something Wonder Woman would do, and that's what kind of took me out of the movie almost immediately.
That's the point of the movie. Like, that's the point of the story, is that she recognizes that she's doing something bad because that's what the wishing rock, whatever it's called, makes you do. It grants you a wish, but it pushes you. And because you're cheating live.
I get that, but the other person was an innocent person that was affected by this.
I understand. I understand that. That's probably the only thing, is that they probably don't properly address that to the extent that they could. But I don't know how they could have done that in regards to it, like the Wonder Woman's perspective. Like, what she meant to do, go up to the guy who has no idea what had happened and be like, "I'm sorry for that."
This feels like a WandaVision kind of plot too, because she felt like guilty that Vision died and basically recreated her.
Yeah, but the only difference for me in that, and I'm not forgiving Wanda because what she did was fucking awful, but Wanda had the catalyst for what Wanda did was the loss of her Vision. Like everything she had. Yeah, like she lost everything, and so she acted out of rage, right? What Wonder Woman did was she wanted to have him back, but not necessarily in somebody else's body. And so that's the part where it becomes an issue for me. I don't know what you're saying, Paigey, but at the end of the day, I still don't think that it was that. In my mind, you can see in the beginning when she first starts fooling around with this other person, she knows she's not supposed to be doing it. To me, it's very obvious that she knows that. Yeah. And that's why, for me, it's tough that they take the whole movie for her to quote-unquote learn her lesson. At that point, she's already done everything. What more can you do? You've already violated this person, probably multiple times.
Yeah, and I think that's something that it's whether it I guess, bothers you to the extent that it can. You know, like some are more bothered than by others and stuff like that.
Maybe that was the intent. Maybe I'm supposed to feel some sort of like.
Well, I think it's you're meant to go like, wow, that's wrong, and like, sure, it might take her longer in the movie to accept that and come to terms like, oh, I've got to let this go. This isn't the right thing to do. But you got to realize it's also the person that she was in love with that's been dead for 40 years that she's been thinking about every single day of her life since that point.
Good morning, Space Fluff.
I'd give it a D.
I think it's a B. I think it's a B.
Oh, wow.
So that's funny. Paigey puts it in B and Dare puts it in D. So that's interesting.
I like 101.
It's really funny to me that this movie is more divisive. This movie is more divisive than Birds of Prey with Us, which I think is quite funny.
I do agree with the third actor. I think I wouldn't say there's a lot of build up, but it just feels a bit underwhelming. Like the cheetah fight, like they've been building up pretty much the entire movie, her transformation into cheetah, and then just ends up in this weird CGI battle.
Yeah,
which she gets electrocuted, Donna Troy style. Just I wasn't the biggest. I honestly think to the point where it didn't probably need cheetah. I don't think at all in this movie. I felt like they just needed, we need something where we can have an action scene.
Well, because they wanted a battle because there is no battle at the end. That's why.
Well, it's not even that. It's also like it's also like even in like the White House when they have that battle before she's like full on cheetah.
Yeah.
It also felt like a Flash season where they talked down the villain.
No, that's why I hated it. I thought it was bad. It was a very unsatisfying end to the movie. But it's not unrealistic. I think Wonder Woman would do that. And so to me that doesn't seem out of character for her. It just wasn't satisfying as a viewing experience.
It just felt like a waste of time to me. Like the whole movie kind of felt like and that's not always a bad thing, but it felt like a lot of filler where it's like, okay, we're just kind of throw this movie in between here. You know, bring him back just to, kill him off again. And like,
Derek Cody agrees with you. Dead last, no redeeming qualities. The only other person I've heard of liking Wonder Woman 84 is Grace Randolph. Oh, okay.
Grace the Goat. How good.
Okay, Justice League theatrical Snyder Cut is in the B for me. I think it's much better. I think it's much better than the condensed Joss Whedon version because he was allowed to put in the stuff that had to be cut out. But it's a weird movie because it's 4 hours long. It doesn't really fit a movie format. It's also
like pretty much the same story, just extended, more consistent, and Snyderific. Like I
think the only reason I'm putting it in B, and I'll be quite honest, because me and Ray Fisher #Ray Fisher updates don't get along.
I know you love Ray Fisher.
I think Ray Fisher, there's two things in this movie that I think made the movie much, much better as a film, is the Ray Fisher stuff, which got cut out, the cyborg stuff, which I loved. And I loved that the Flash had a bigger scene with the moving around in time.
No, it was fucking stupid to have it in this movie.
It was stupid, and I did not like Superman in this version. I think Superman was better in the Joss Whedon version. But it's still, to me, I watched it more times than I watched the theatrical cut. And if I was given an option to watch them again, I would choose to watch this one over the theatrical cut. So,
yeah.
This movie, I just have a sour taste in my mouth with this movie because, I actually enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was fun, but I think it's one of the worst things DC's ever done in terms of
they were bullying
DC's reputation and the brand as a whole. I wish they never would have.
Well, the Snyder Cut is also a reminder of if you're a business, be a business. They should have cut Snyder off after BvS was not received well. They fucking waded in the water. I'm like, oh, we can maybe fix it. And then they got halfway through Justice and went, oh, fuck. We're screwed here. And they didn't want to keep going with it.
Yeah. I had a huge problem with the Flash in this movie. He was.
I have a problem with this Flash in general with Zack Snyder movies. So
and the inconsistency with his appearances too.
Yeah. All right. So I had to think about this one a little bit because I do love this movie. So for me, and people are probably going to disagree with me, but I love this fucking movie. This is a S tier film for me. Suicide Squad.
For me,
I think it's
C.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say? Where?
I don't like Suicide Squad.
Oh, a D. You said D?
No, C.
Oh.
I think it's A. I think it would be S tier. I just think it's a bit forgettable, if that makes sense. I don't really I've never been driven. I think I've watched it twice. I watched it once in the actual movies and once at home, but I've never been I'll watch the Suicide Squad again. I think I've seen every movie here apart from probably Black Adam down there and Blue Beetle, more than the Suicide Squad.
I'm waiting to see where everybody else would put it. Where would you guys put it?
For me,
what? You sound like you're.
Someone's drowning you, bro.
You sound like what's that show where like you can't hear the parent's voice and it's like
Charlie Brown. You're talking
in front of the Suicide Squad.
This is
All right.
probably my favorite.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, don't shove it down your throat. Like, Jesus Christ.
I'm microphone grabbing right now.
Well, you're
This is my
replicating a
favorite
Diddy
DC
party
movie.
at the moment.
what were you saying, Darren?
This is my favorite DC movie, just like in general.
The Suicide Squad.
I think
Okay.
it's a masterpiece. I love.
So
this
you
movie.
you put it in S tier as well.
It's
then?
an S tier, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are down to the end of the era here. Peacemaker TV show is controversial, I know, but I'm going to put Peacemaker in the A tier.
What controversial in what way?
In the way that I don't think a lot of people here are going to agree with me on that.
What do you think people would put it?
Like S tier?
No, I think it's A. So I'd be fair if someone put it B. Like, once again, it sort of plays into it's a bit forgettable because it's not really story based. It's a character show. Like, it's fun when you watch it. I haven't rewatched Peacemaker though. I don't know if anyone else has rewatched it.
I have never seen it. I didn't like the character.
What?
That's why I haven't watched it.
It's a different character though in the show than the movie.
Okay, but here's his thing. He doesn't like villains. He doesn't watch things with villains.
Oh, that's
Yeah, but
right.
he's not a villain in this. He's a hero.
But I guess why he doesn't like Suicide Squad. The same reason he probably won't like Creature Commandos because of that.
I mean, I'm fine. I wouldn't put it S. I think it's just because the story's fairly weak in it.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in a TV show, it helps when you have that. Like, this is, I know, once again, Eric, don't get triggered. It's very much in the vein of like a Legends of Tomorrow. Like, it's just very character based and like having that group of characters that interacted. But I think A, if someone put it B, it'd be fair enough, but I would put it A. I don't think it deserves an S just because it lacks that quality or that aspect. I think.
Here we go. Get ready for a movie that.
Wait, I didn't get my vote.
Oh yeah, right. What
It's very rude of you, Eric.
I'm sorry.
How rude.
I put it S.
Would you put it in S? Really? So you,
I think it's right on par with Suicide Squad.
I was gonna say, so you like it because it's right up there with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I think they're the same quality for me.
That makes sense.
I was waiting for them to say it's not S, and then immediately be like, yeah, it's S.
Now, for me, with Black Adam, it's an A for me. I actually like it.
Wait, Black Adam's an A?
Yeah,
An A.
an A, yes.
Wait, an A for this is A joke? Or...
Okay, I enjoyed it more than most of his films.
But
That's
isn't
how
Black Adam a villain?
Black Adam is an anti-villain.
So is Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad.
Like I said, like it's kind of complicated with me.
I mean, that's
Sounds like you
fair.
make up
Dwayne the
rules.
Rock Johnson. I'm freaking watching it.
You watching Red One? Because I think that's
Okay,
tracking
we're
horribly.
gonna do this one a little bit different. He's telling me where would you put it again? Say it again. B, A,
No, A.
A. So where would before I put my? We're gonna go backwards this time. Where would everybody else put Black Adam before I put it up? I want to know.
I put a C.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably like an honest C, generous low B. Just because like I think the Justice Society is fairly interesting and cool in it. I like Hawkman, I like Dr. Fate and stuff.
Again, that's the only redeeming quality of the movie, in my opinion.
And it's not Black Adam. I think, and it's nothing against The Rock. It's just when you watch it, it's hard. You just feel like you're watching The Rock, like you're not watching Black Adam.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was stoned. Just kidding.
I'm struggling a little bit because my gut is telling me to put it in D because I really don't like this movie. But the Justice Society is
The
really
Justice
good.
Society is
Dr.
what redeemed
Fate,
it a couple of
Hawkman.
points. Yeah,
I would almost feel bad because I think Hawkman was a perfect casting. I think Dr. Fate was a perfect casting. I really enjoy those two characters. I'm gonna drop it in C,
and also
a very light, generous C for me.
But here's the thing, Eric. You also forgot you love the character of the kid. That was really not annoying. In the film.
That was awful.
I mean,
I could fluctuate between a C and a D for Black Adam, but it's at the bottom. It's definitely the bottom for me.
I liked it when I first saw, when I first came out of the theater. I was like, that was really fun. And then every day after I saw it, it went down for me.
That was me. I would have put it like in the center, and it just kept dropping for me.
To the point, I bought a Black Adam T-shirt. I have a Black Adam T-shirt in my closet.
Did you burn it? Did you?
I think it's like just funny. Like every DC movie that comes out, I wear it to like the cinema, and everyone looks at me. I think it's just funny.
What's funny is I guess I watch Heroes, so JSA is in the movie, but at the same time there's The Rock. So I've watched all of The Rock's movies all the way to like his
Tooth Fairy. I was gonna say
Tooth Fairy. Tooth Fairy gameplay. I've watched all of his entire genre of movies. So I'm a fan of his rockness. In a sense. Okay. So that's why I watched it.
We are down to the final four, and we are at Shazam 2. Shazam 2 for me. Okay, so I'm going to do it first with no commentary. I'm just going to drag and drop, and then I'll let you guys discuss Shazam 2. I'm just going to drag and drop it here.
Sound like a... Oh, okay. I thought you were going to put it in C. I'm happy with B.
I actually agree with that one.
Yeah.
I do think it's like a low B. I don't think it's like...
I would agree.
B, but I think it's a low B. Just because it's not offensive, if that makes sense. It's just really mid. It's just it was disappointing. I think that's probably the best.
Actually, for me right now, everything in the order that it's in is kind of where it would fall for like left to right. This is where it would be for me actually in the lineup. Like if I had to.
I think the biggest disservice that this film did, I think it was just that it didn't really feel like it was a proper sequel to the first film. And they also give you like the middle finger with that post-credit scene where it shows Mr. Mind again. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't set him up as the sequel thing and then go, oh, I remember him. He's like, yeah, I fucking do because I thought it was going to be in the sequel. But,
yeah.
Someone just called me gay for liking The Rock. Wow.
To be honest, you were getting a bit gay. It sounded like
okay. Well, there we go. There we go.
I like action movies.
Okay.
Me. I'm a guy.
Before we go through the rest, did everybody say where they would put Shazam 2?
I'd also put it in B. I actually loved this movie, like especially when I first I saw it twice in the same week when it first came out.
You know what the shining star for this movie was for me? Mary was the shining star in this movie for me.
It honestly, it kind of reminded me of like what the CW stuff was doing, and I guess we'll talk about that in a second with one of these other ones. But like, I like just getting to spend time in a superhero family. Like it really, like I think it would have been better if it was a TV show. Like if we actually got to spend time with these guys. We got to, their day in and day out. Like there's really good themes in this movie. I just think it needed to be longer. I think some things needed better executed. I don't like what they did with like Zachary Levi. Like he does just kind of feel like. I don't know.
It feels like Billy got older, but Zachary's Shazam stayed the same age.
They didn't strike, and that was probably the issue with like.
Yeah.
That's always going to be an issue when you do this thing where, like, especially in like the comics or a TV show, like the characters really don't age. Like you don't see Billy Batson normally like 18 heading into 19. He's normally just a kid, and you see this. So that's an issue when you have a character like that, and you cast Zachary Levi to play that older version or the Shazam version.
Like I think that could have been cool if they played into it a little bit. Where like I like my headcanon in the movie was like, well, he acts like that because when he turns into Shazam, he likes to be a kid. Like he likes to act like he's a kid.
I see it as like if we got powers, we'd act similar. That'd be like, oh fuck, and you're flying around and doing different things. So it's excitement, but that would also be like, how often does that? Well, if he can just go Shazam, or you'd get a bit bored of it. It's like when you get a video game, it's like, oh, I'm really excited to play this. And once you're an hour in, you're just sort of like in the mode. And you're not like freaking out every single time you're playing. Something happens. You're just in the mood, you're in the mode, in the flow. So that's the only issue there. But,
For me, it was, I like the story more in this movie. It brought to the attention of foster care, which was like, it resonated with me because I was in foster care. I'm adopted now.
Right.
And I know what it feels like to be abandoned by your mother. Mm-hmm. So it felt like...
you connected with the story.
Yeah, I connected a little bit more.
That makes sense. So where would you put it?
For me, it was... The story-wise, the emotional draw was an A, but the overall movie is a B.
Okay. So everybody's kind of in the same page.
So hold on, did I drop bars just then, like in the mood, in the flow?
Yes.
Okay, hold
100%.
on, Dr. Dre, come.
Yeah.
I'll leave my number.
All right, so now it is time for the Flash movie, and we're gonna do something a little bit different here. I'm gonna ask one of you to tell me where you would rank it, and then we're gonna go down the line. So, Flash movie, 3-dub, where would you put it on the list?
There isn't a letter that's been invented yet.
Oh, wow. Okay. Darren, where would you put it on the list?
Probably C.
Okay.
I mean, listen, like, there's things I like about it, but
Did you like the babies falling?
No. I mean, I don't get it. Okay, you know what though? Before I saw before I went in, I did see the reverse clip on Twitter where it
looked like he was putting the baby in the microwave.
Before I even saw the movie, I was like, "What is this context? What the hell did this movie do?"
Yeah,
it was terrible. You don't cook babies, and it dinged for the love of God.
Paigey, I feel like you're going to be a little bit less harsh on this. Where would you put the Flash movie?
Yo, it's the Flash, and he's in the multiverse, and he's going straight up to the letter number S.
S?
Yeah. I love the Flash. I love the Flash.
What?
Yeah.
S?
I gotta go. Thanks for having me.
Oh, chat, please tell me what you think about this going into S tier. Chat, please give me emojis. Give me emojis. I want to know what you feel about this going into S tier.
I thought you were about to ask chat to flame me.
No, I want to see what they think. Give me emojis with your reaction to Paigey putting this in S tier. Because out of everything we've talked about, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
Why is that crazy?
Because I think the movie's okay. I don't think it's an S tier.
Michael Keaton couldn't save it.
I don't know. Like, there's some good shit in this movie, but S tier, that would mean it has to be like almost perfect for me, and it's not even.
It's not high
even
S.
close.
I don't think any movie's like really like high S. It's definitely like on that that bridge thing between S and high.
Holy okay. So I'm gonna put it where I would put it, and for me, this movie falls like right around here. No.
Oh, that's even worse.
And I would actually put it ahead of Justice League. I actually put it ahead of Birds of Prey. But it's still in the middle for me. It's just an okay movie. Like, I watched it again recently, and I'm like, it's all right. There's some stuff in it that I don't like, but like a lot of stuff falls apart in the movie, and I don't like Ezra as Barry Allen. So
I didn't even like him as Dark Flash.
That's the clear thing. I don't think people want to admit that Ezra Miller factor does bring it down a few points. And I understand that. Like, I 110% understand that.
Yeah.
That it does bring it down points for people.
Can you explain to me how the freaking they forgot that he could time travel and he just realized he could time travel in this movie?
What do you mean?
He literally time traveled in Justice League for a split second. He also time traveled in the Snyder's Justice League, but he does it in this movie and figures out he can do it.
No, he doesn't. He remembers that he did it. He says it's Ben Affleck's character.
No, he literally said that. He literally said that he just found out in this movie.
No, he doesn't. He knows how to time travel in the opening few minutes. He goes back. He willingly just goes back. He time travels. Then he openly admits to Batman that he can time travel, and that's why he poses the question, I want to save my mom. Should I use this? And he's like, no, probably not, because it could fuck with things.
He did it.
Go rewatch the movie, dude.
Like I'm saying, he didn't explain it to Batman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, but he does it again in this movie.
Why would he need to explain it? He didn't explain it to anyone because none of them would have remembered. He traveled back in time. Why would they remember? Why would he need to tell them? They don't know that they died. He ran back and just saved them.
Bro, he got naked in the movie. Remember? He got naked and teleported through the floor and then ran outside.
When he goes back to warn Batman that he Lois is the key or whatever, that's when he time traveled.
Yeah, that's an older version of him.
but he would still remember it.
He's saying that happening would be something that Batman would have said, so he would.
Why would Batman spoil Barry's future for him?
There's an inconsistency in the writing.
Someone said that it sounded like you were high. I think you might be high, 3Dub.
I don't think 3Dub is high. I think 3Dub is trying to drop knowledge on you because you put this in the S tier.
But it's not. Yes. But I'm cooking because I'm just finding what happened.
What are you cooking exactly though? Because it smells like shit. Honestly, it smells like shit. There were Flash ass cheeks out in this movie. Like,
well, and to be fair, they were hairy. So like they lined with the hairy ass cheeks that
they killed Supergirl like a million times in this movie.
And the other thing,
but it is meant to be like, it is important to remember that this Supergirl was killed because it was going to be a different Supergirl that appeared at the end, which is a downside. I do agree with the view on that, and it's unfortunate just because how things played out. Because it's everyone, I did see people criticizing her that like it was this like angry Supergirl and stuff, which you understand why she's angry, but it was also meant to be. Like, we're meant to see the new version at the end of the movie.
The other consistency is the fact that he's explained his powers constantly, and he keeps changing his mind whether he can touch a person or not. Like, if he touches them, they explode, and then he touches himself. The other Barry, and he throws up.
I can't believe we're on like a theoretical breakdown of the Flash.
No, I think you might need to do a rewatch. At least watch like Snyder Cut and then Flash, and you'll see the consistency. Oh, BvS.
No, maybe you need to rewatch it because I remember it clearly.
But the thing is,
not one of them.
Yeah, no offense, man, but
3 different times of what happens when he touches someone, and they're different reasons.
So what about Blue Beetle?
Yeah, let's just move on from this one because the chat is roasting both of you, so we're just gonna move on from this. one.
But to be honest, Pag W. Let's be completely honest.
He touches the baby and he didn't explode.
Oh my god. Okay, so all right, Blue Beetle. I really like this movie, and I think it's unfortunate the position it was in with the writer's strike and the actor strike and everything, because I think the movie had some solid stuff and it was a lot better than I expected. I would actually, and this is probably going to be controversial, chat, get ready to roast me. Tell me I'm wrong. F's in the chat for me, but I'm going to put Blue Beetle in the A tier. I think Blue Beetle's an A for me.
Yeah,
I would say low A, high B, but it's still up there. So,
and the main thing is that, like, I think it's the stuff with the family and like Hame specifically is good, but the villain is so fucking ass. Both sides.
The villain is bad. I'll give you that. The villain sucks. Yes, I agree.
And the Susan Sarandon, it seems like she's bipolar. Like, she has a really good scene, then she's got the most god-awful scene you'll ever see ever. Like, literally the next fucking scene you see her. Super inconsistent. I still don't know, like the production side of this movie. Like, did it start getting made before they decided to go, no, we'll make this theatrical, or was it like
I don't know the time. Does anybody know the time?
It's not hard to tell because it looks like a theatrical movie, but then there's like the set where their house looks very TV, if that makes sense.
Well, I think this is the movie that Darren was talking about when he mentioned CW, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. Like, this show really reminds me of Stargirl, just in like its tone and its style. And to the point, I think if this was like a season of television, it would have been really good.
Well, I think the opening like hour of this episode feels like a TV pilot. It feels like a pilot episode, and that's not a criticism, like a compliment, because I think it introduces you all the characters, builds it up, and that probably is like where the downside comes to maybe the third act, where it is clearly like really rushing to get to the finish line. That's where the villain sort of is arse. But I think like the opening hour, it feels like a really, really good TV pilot where you know everything you need to know about him, his family, even the Scarab to an extent, of what it's going to do and what its powers give him and stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I'm really excited for like the animated show, because I feel like it will work very well in some.
But that makes me wish it was just a live action show, because I think you could use a lot of the different settings that they already set up. But I guess like James Gunn probably doesn't know where he wants to put this character as of yet. Though I do, it wouldn't surprise me too much if he's in Teen Titans or the Titans thing if they do that. But yeah.
live action would have been cool, but I also just think like you could do a lot of fun things within animation, like with his powers and stuff. Like him being able to create all these different things. I think you can have fun with that in that medium. So I'm okay with it. Go ahead.
Cam said it was filmed as a streaming film, but then it was moved. So I guess in the post production they gave it a bit more budget to do better VFX. Okay, I wasn't too sure because I wasn't.
I think the part in the movie where they're inside of the giant like Blue Beetle mech or whatever, that was added in for the movie. I think that was reshot for the movie, if I remember correctly.
He probably just flies to the island himself or something like.
Yeah.
And maybe like something like that.
That's what I think that was one of the ones they said was redone. All right, so we are on the final DCEU film, which is the second Aquaman movie. Now, I think that Ocean Master totally owned this movie. It felt like it was more his movie than it was Aquaman's movie, to be quite honest. I think the third act was clearly, and I think Paige, we talked about this. It feels like they went a little wonky with the third act. It doesn't feel like it was.
It feels like it's
proper.
This is sort of very Aquaman 2 is like almost very similar, like with Shazam 2, where it's just a bit of a disappointment compared to the first movie. But it's still got some fun stuff in it.
Oddly enough, I would put it in the same ranking as Shazam 2 under Aquaman, like for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I disliked it a lot when I first watched it because it was so disjointed, especially in that third act. Like it feels like it's 4 different movies.
I don't know. I feel like I could be convinced to move this movie. So, like, do you guys agree or disagree with where I place this? Like, do we feel like it's in the same vein as like Birds of Prey and Shazam 2?
I would
feel. Like
I would have it. I'm fine with it there. Like it's definitely a low B to high C for me. But like after I first watched it, it was like a high D. I just didn't because if I was it was more the disappointment factor. Yeah. But then I went and re-watched it again. And I like appreciated it more and it went up a bit. But and that was actually the same with Shazam 2, to be completely honest. Just because when disappointment hits you, it obviously makes you get a bit rage baity and stuff like that.
I don't know. I feel like I'm being a little generous with it. I don't feel like it's as good as the other movies in the B tier, to be honest.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it's definitely a low B. So
I think I would put it in C, but I would put it ahead of like Wonder Woman.
I think it's better than Suicide Squad.
You think so? Yeah, I would agree with that. So be the bottom. So like this is the order. Let me make sure I have everything where I would put it. I think this is the right order from left to right for me.
And you know, one issue is that in this movie, you can tell Jason Momoa, I think, had a bit too much creative control. I mean, the fact that there's literally a clip of him with the baby, and he's like, it looks like it's literally behind the scenes when they weren't filming the movie, and it's him on the bike.
Yeah,
it's like that's just. I'm 99% sure that's literally just Jason Momoa's motorcycle.
I feel like Aquaman going from the first movie to the second movie went from being Aquaman to being Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
That's
which is fine. Which if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But that's more like you got to know when you got to.
But I will also argue that Ocean Master in the second movie felt more like Aquaman to me than Aquaman did.
Aquaman sucks in this movie. I think he's not a good character. Like we talked about this movie over on my channel, I think last year, and I just think it's like. It doesn't feel like a full movie to me. Like it feels like a mosh posh of 4 different movies, which makes sense. They were in between like 3 different universes. Like we didn't know where it was. It's very clear they were also in that situation, and it felt like they were like, you know what, screw it, just put it out. Just like whatever footage we have here, stitch it together. It doesn't all make sense. It like to me, I'd put in either a D or like a high D or like a low C.
Okay, fair enough. 3Dub, did you see Aquaman 2?
I did.
Where would you put it?
I was actually looking at the scene from The Flash. He said it in the reason why I didn't catch it is because his mouth was full of talking.
So here we go. Now you're saying, oh, he was right. And I look like a fucking idiot.
You're right.
Yeah, thank you.
But he didn't remember that he went to Earth Prime.
Oh my God! Jump through.
Astonishing point. He didn't remember he went and saw Grant Gustin.
How do we even know it's the same guy? It could be like a different version of him.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
They said that it was DCEU.
No, he didn't go home from the DCEU. He didn't say that.